that may or may not be more than 1 in 3 women. That's an alarming, frightening possibility. So, and one of the issues is the silence and the stigma around it. It's still considered a private issue, and it's the most underreported human rights violations of our time, sadly. And the only way to break that is if we keep the pressure on, if we keep working on it, if we, through advocacy, through programs, if we are able to make dent into the wall of silence that surrounds the issue, that is incredibly important. It is important to get men start talking about it, but it is incredibly important to reach boys and girls early. It is important to involve the media on this. Where is the media on this issue? Many of you may be aware of the global media monitoring project that happens, and they did a report just before the Beijing platform, the Beijing Plus 15 activities, and the anniversary. And what they saw was, yes, compared to the previous years, there has been improvement in media in terms of reporting on women, in terms of representation of women, but we still have a long way to go. And because of these challenges, because of the stigma, the silence, the absence, or the invisibility of the issue, I think advocacy is something that is incredibly important still. So all of us who are working on this issue as advocates, I think the time now is to really charge ahead and keep that momentum going, not to lose even one bit of it. And in terms of getting more men on board, I think there are some of the men's organizations, whether it's the White Ribbon campaign is a great way to get men involved. I've seen so many men getting involved with the campaign as well as through the workshops that they do. Big fan of their work in that context. Promundo, and there is a Men Engage Alliance, which is an alliance of various networks working with men on the issue of ending violence against women. And at the UN level as well, there has been an unprecedented effort to get more men involved. I mentioned the Secretary General's Unite to End Violence Against Women campaign. This November, the campaign, the Unite campaign at the UN, also launched a Men Leaders Network. I would encourage you to go to the website of the Unite campaign, which is endviolence.un.org, and please do look up the Men Leaders Network. And these are ways that we can get more men involved through these campaigns and get them on media, get them publicly visible, and that serves as a great role model. Sharmini asks, have you done any innovative awareness raising campaign for Say No and to get the younger generation involved? You personally, I think. I'm not sure what she means, but have I personally contributed to any of the actions being recorded? Is that the question? Or has UNIFEM done anything in the context of Say No? Okay, she does mean what have I done personally? What an interesting question. I actually come from the South Asian. I work with South Asian women immigrants in the United States and women who are abandoned transnationally. So my background is with survivors of domestic violence, and that's my work. And I continue to work on that issue. I started my work on women's rights with that work, and that's I still volunteer and I still contribute in that respect. I do a lot of speaking engagements. I do a lot of work with college students. Another issue I work currently on is personally on the sexual violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I've done a bit of work with VDay, which is vagina who put together the vagina monologues worldwide, and VDay has a very nice package that school children can use. I mean, when I say school children, I mean um, schools, high schools, or college students can use to raise awareness about the rape epidemic in Congo. I have contributed to that. These are the kinds of, I think, actions I personally take. Sharmini just wants to now know about what UNIFEM has done in terms of contributing towards these actions. Well, UNIFEM has a coordinating role for the regional campaigns that are rolling out in the context of the larger UN Unite campaign. So UNIFEM field offices are involved in campaign and advocacy initiatives at local, national levels, and they do contribute those actions to Say No, and through Say No, these actions are really contributed towards the larger United Nations campaign, Unite. Um, the UNIFEM offices also do a lot of work in the context of 16 Days campaign. Um, this year there were a lot of interesting activities and actions recorded on Say No. In fact, if you went to www.saynotoviolence.org, and you can search for actions under Join Say No, and you can search by categories of actions, and one of the categories is 16 days. So if you were to choose 16 days, you will see all the actions that organizations as well as UNIFEM offices did in the context of 16 days. Some of these included marches, national marches and local marches and demonstrations. It included, for example, in Nigeria, police officers were trained. In Uganda, judges were trained on the issue. In Tanzania, there was a really great initiative involving UN Association as well as UNIFEM, and they did awareness raising events and concerts where 300 youth came together. Thousands of people attended, and that was incredibly powerful. In Ecuador, in Mexico, etc., there have been concerts. In Ecuador, I think there was a huge concert that happened, a rock concert, and in that concert, UNIFEM had PSAs as well as had information on where to go if you're a survivor of violence and what are the rights in the context of violence against women, what are the laws, information basically that was distributed. People were encouraged to sign on to Say No, and there were volunteers engaged from universities, young people who then got trained on gender issues. Similar things happened in Fiji. Recently, I should talk about a recent event that went on in the European Parliament for the International Women's Day, and on that occasion.